There are two types of people in this world, those who throw grenades and those who become the shrapnel. The Heavy Grenadier doesn't really fit into either category because he launches his grenade out of a modified gumball machine at Mach 1, and by the time he's done, there's no one left to categorize him. This isn't a man. This is a municipal safety hazard wrapped in Kevlar and hate. He doesn't aim, he doesn't think, he just picks a general direction and commits an act of terrorism so efficient it could qualify as urban development. He is the living answer to the question, what if explosions were a personality trait? The Heavy Grenadier is unlocked at level 10 and can be recruited for 40 nanopods at any level of barracks. Yeah, that sounds pretty expensive for a unit most people barely talk about, but stick with me, he's almost worth it. I'll explain the almost part towards the end of the video. At rank 6, the Heavy Grenadier comes with 120 health, 35 bravery, 75 defense, 45 dodge, and a PvP unit value of 15. I'd also like to point out that this unit has resistance to explosive type damage that scales up as he ranks. By rank 6, he only takes 65% of explosive damage. Not bad. In order to get this unit to rank 6, it will require 47,330 SP, which actually is a bit less than what the Hunter requires for rank 6. The total cost to get this unit to rank 6 will be 916,672 gold, 14,200 iron, 26,775 steel, 11 bars, and 2 laurels. Looking at these stats, the Heavy Grenadier seems pretty average compared to the other units you unlock around this level. But the reason I think he's a good unit comes down to his attacks, so let's take a look. The Heavy Grenadier's first attack is called Triple Bomb. In this attack, the Grenadier launches 3 14-ounce chunks of plastic explosives at 343 meters per second, dealing 30 to 45 explosive damage per hit 3 times with an offense of 71 and the standard 5% critical hit chance. It's got a range of 1 to 4 and an indirect line of fire, meaning this man can casually arc explosives over your front line like he's delivering pizza to the afterlife. It uses one of his 3 ammo with a 1-round cooldown and a 5-round reload. This attack can also hit high-altitude passenger aircraft, which is very nice. Overall, this is the kind of attack that doesn't just damage the enemy, since it also put me on several watch lists. The Grenadier's second attack is called X-Strike. Not sure how they came up with that name. At rank 6, it deals 42 to 63 explosive damage across 5 tiles in an X-shaped pattern, with an offense of 71 and the usual 5% critical hit rate. It has a range of 1 to 5 and an indirect line of fire. This attack uses 2 out of 2 ammo and has a 5-round reload. Looking at these two attacks, they serve very different purposes. Triple Bomb is great for high burst damage against a single strong unit, while X-Strike is better for finishing off multiple weaker units who had the audacity to stand in a convenient shape. Personally, I find myself sticking with Triple Bomb. X-Strike just feels more like a niche, situational tool rather than a reliable option. With this in mind, let's see how they perform in battle. It turns out, with the holidays around the corner, the homeless have begun parading around and harassing people for pocket change and loose candy corn. The only correct response to this behavior is to, of course, kill them. Dealing with the homeless might seem intimidating at first, but once you understand their tactics, you'll be able to handle level 46 formations using units you unlock at level 13. The first thing you need to do is take care of the high damage units that can hit our Heavy Grenadiers. In this case, it's 2 crystal meth addicts. I did this using no less than 13 grenades from my Heavy Grenadiers. With the tweakers taken care of, believe it or not, this battle is already over. You might see this hulking behemoth standing there menacingly, but he is just a big fat idiot. He can't even attack us with the weaker panhandlers in his way. So as long as you take care of him first, the rest of the battle will just be you using military grade equipment to send a message of no soliciting. While beating the less financially fortunate is one of my favorite pastimes, it isn't the best demonstration of how this unit punches above its weight. To prove that, I'm sending 5 Heavy Grenadiers to take on a rebel army, all while firing safely from behind these 3 portable walls. The battle actually goes pretty well at the start. none of the rebels can land a hit on the Grenadiers, who are using a combination of triple bomb and the X-strike attacks to focus down the most dangerous enemies first. We take out the Hitman, one of the two real threats to my troops. This apparently enrages the Saboteur, who happens to be the other threat, and it shows, because he manages to sneak up behind one of my heavy Grenadiers and plant a demolition charge right on the back of his head. It was a critical hit, and it instantly turned my heavy Grenadier into a fine red mist. This is a tragedy, not because I now have to notify this man's family, but because it's going to take me even longer to destroy these super tanks. Still, I eventually take them down by strategically spreading out damage with triple bomb. That way the X-strike attack can finish off multiple units at once. Another victory for the heavy Grenadier. But this isn't enough. I believe in the heavy Grenadier. That's why I'm sending 8 of them to fight the ancient construct. My theory is that with their decent dodge, resistance to explosive damage, and good attacks, they'll be able to defeat this ancient trash compactor. We start off the battle by shredding the armor off the ancient construct. It retaliates by firing a high energy photon laser straight at 2 of my Grenadiers. One takes the hit and survives while the other dodges it completely, a promising start. But my luck quickly ran out, since the ancient construct spent the next few turns giving all of my heavy Grenadiers a violent prostate exam with its large phallic arms. Alright, I seem to have made a slight miscalculation. You see, the problem is that your average 5'10", 180-pound man simply isn't built to withstand the force of 2 tons of steel slapping him across the face. With this life-changing scientific discovery fresh in my mind, I decided to replace the first 3 Grenadiers with super tanks. These will serve as a barrier for our heavy Grenadiers, and will not be attacking the ancient construct. We start the battle. The heavy Grenadiers unleash volley after volley of grenades, shaking the entire battlefield. By turn 3, the construct's armor is completely shredded, and we've taken 0 casualties. So far so good. By the time the first 3 Grenadiers ran out of ammo, we had the ancient construct down to half health. It was around this time that we lost our first super tank. This is an acceptable loss for me to prove these units are good. One of our Grenadiers fires another volley of grenades, to which the ancient construct has only 1 response. Alright, as long as we don't lose more, we should be fine. Luckily, we managed to get off a few more volleys with the remaining Grenadiers. Then, another super tank was promptly dismantled by the ancient construct's giant mechanical arms. Not good. We are down to 1 super tank and 4 heavy Grenadiers, 2 of which are barely hanging on. But the ancient construct has roughly about 15% of its health left. We're cutting it close, painfully close. We fire another volley and watch as one of our heavy Grenadiers gets vaporized on the spot. The next volley follows and another Grenadier is then crushed to death. Now, we are down to just 2 heavy Grenadiers and 1 super tank hanging on with half of its health. But we're close. And after just 2 more volleys from our heavy Grenadiers, it finally happened. We achieved victory. A Pyrrhic victory, yes, but victory nonetheless. And while we suffered heavy losses, none of our fallen units require tier 3 resources to heal or repair, so not bad. Now that we're done with that, let's talk about why I almost think this unit is worth it. The Heavy Grenadier is a good unit. It's got average survivability and solid attacks for the level you unlock it at. Unfortunately, just 5 levels later, you unlock the TF2 Demo Man, who, in every measurable way, is better. Higher stats, more damaging attacks that set enemies on fire, and he maxes out at rank 9 instead of 6. The only downside? He costs an extra 5 nanopods to train, which, unless you're recently struck down by the developers for cheating, isn't exactly a deal breaker. And with how much better the Demo Man is, that extra cost is completely worth it. Look, I like this unit, I really do. But right now, there's just no reason to use him in the current balance of the game. Maybe once the devs start adjusting things, that will change, but until then, I can't recommend investing in this unit while the Demo Man exists. And with that, I've got nothing else to say, other than consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. Also, what do you guys think about me doing one of those tier list videos? It will be completely biased and follow zero guidelines and ignore any kind of moral compass. But I think it could be fun. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.